Properties of math. Properties is a big fancy math word for rules. You guys know most of these rules. You just didn't know the name of them. For instance, the commutative property of addition. All that means is that you can switch when you're adding. You could add 3 plus 2 or 2 plus 3 and still get 5. But when it's written down, it looks like this. A plus B equals B plus A. Or it might look like this. 3 plus 5 equals 5 plus 3. It's always going to look exactly that way. 6 plus 8 equals 8 plus 6. They switched. Commutative property of addition. Commutative property of multiplication is sort of the same, but when they write that down, it's multiplication, so it has a times sign instead of a plus sign. So, A times B equals B times A. So how about 5 times 2 equals 2 times 5. That's what the commutative property of multiplication looks like when you write it down. You guys already knew that it doesn't matter which order you multiply in. So let me ask you a question. Which one is this? If I said to you, 8 plus 3 equals 3 plus 8. Which property is that? Is it commutative property of multiplication or commutative property of addition? If you said addition, you're right. Commutative property of addition. Awesome. Okay, which ones are these? The first one, 5 plus 9 equals 9 plus 5, is the commutative property of addition. We abbreviate that C of A, or CA. 6 times 3 equals 3 times 6 is commutative of multiplication. We abbreviate that CM. The last one, x plus y equals y plus x. Which property do you think that is? Commutative of addition or commutative of multiplication? If you said commutative of addition, you would be right. Now, there are also associative properties of addition and multiplication. Notice there are 3 things being added together in the top formula. And the only thing that's different from this side to this side is the parentheses are in a different place. The first one grouped A and B together, and the second one grouped B and C together. Same thing for multiplication. The parentheses look like they shifted over or moved. So that's all that's different. You're adding 3 things or multiplying 3 things. The order isn't important. When you see it written down, it looks like this. Five plus 3 plus 7 equals, no parentheses, sorry, 5 plus parentheses 3 plus 7. So 5, 3, and 7, same order. 5, 3, 7. The parentheses shifted. The parentheses are the only thing that moved. Multiplication. 3 times 2 times 7 equals 3 times 2 times 7. They're just grouping different parts. That's what associative property of addition looks like. Okay, here's 3 more examples. The top example is that associative, is it commutative? Is it addition? Is it multiplication? It's associative. It's grouping 2 different things together, and it's adding, so it's associative of addition. That's how we abbreviate associative of addition, AA. The second one, it's just switching them. I can add them in whatever order I want. So that means it's commutative of addition. CA. What's the third one? Is it adding or multiplying? Multiplying. Is it associating or is it just switching like commutative? Oh, it's associating, so it's associative of multiplication. Two more properties. Multiplicative identity and additive identity. A times 1 equals A. 7 times 1 equals 7. 3 times 1 equals 3. That's multiplicative identity. Multiplying it by 1 gives it back its identity, its original identity. Additive identity works the same way. A plus 0 equals A. 7 plus 0 equals 7. 5 plus 0 equals 5. Adding 0 keeps its identity. Okay, let's do these. 5 plus 0 equals 5. Which property is that? Look, 5 is getting its identity back. So that must mean it's an identity property. Which one? Additive or multiplicative? Oh, they're adding. So, additive identity. We're going to abbreviate it AI. Next one, you ought to recognize by now. That's associative of multiplication. AM. The third one, you ought to be getting really good. The numbers switched. Commutative of addition, because they're adding. 6 times 1 equals 6. What do you think? Identity? Multiplying? Multiplicative identity. Last property. This one's called the distributive property, and it sort of looks a little bit like associative, but notice the difference. In associative, there were always two sets of parentheses. Distributive only has one set of parentheses over here, and then what's actually happening is it's multiplying, so it's saying A times B plus A times C. And that's what this says, A times B plus A times C. So let's use some real numbers because sometimes that's easier to see. Okay, this one right here, 5 times 2 plus 3. 5 times 2, there's that part. 5 times 3, here's this part. You're distributing. This is one we're actually going to do and work out some. So if I was going to finish working this problem, what I would do is I would say, oh, 5 times 2, well, that's 10. 5 times 3, well, that's 15. And that's going to be 25. I would actually do the math. Let's try a problem that has numbers and letters. How about 3 times x plus 2? Well, using the distributive property, we're going to do 3 times x plus 3 times 2. So, 3 times x is 3x. Then put my plus sign. 3 times 2 is 6. That's actually the answer to that problem. Okay, time to practice. See if you can figure out which properties these are. The first one is distributive. We're just going to abbreviate that with a D. The second one is commutative of multiplication, or CM. The third one is additive identity, or AI. The fourth one is associative of addition, or AA. Okay, on your video homework, there's only 4 questions. You tell me which property is it. Go back and look at the list of properties on the video if you've forgotten the names. You need to know which property all 4 of these are. Have a great evening.